Okay, well, welcome to today's session of online teaching training, and thank you for joining. Right now we have Nadine. Thank you, Nadine. Hopefully we'll get some other people pop in here soon. So just today, basically, we're going to go over a few items, and tomorrow we'll resume the rest of the rest of the training. So we'll talk about that. So probably just right now, we'll just talk about type of teachers we have and sort of who they are, what they do. And we'll talk a little bit about total physical response. And I just wanted to really get your feedback on your teaching styles. I didn't really want to have to go into how, like I had said during the training or during the interview, I didn't want to have to go into like how you should be teaching students, but I would like, for me, I don't want to tell you how you should be teaching, but you share with me how you would like to teach online or otherwise, and then maybe share your experience with other teachers. And then we'll talk a little bit about ZhuMu today. So that is currently what we're on, and we've already experienced probably 50% of the issues of logging in. So now that you already have the registration, I apologize. I will make sure that in the future that the teachers will have that registration information. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and get into the Big English Active Teach, which is our teaching material. And so hopefully today, these are the 3 items we'll cover. Okay, if we don't finish everything, then we'll get into the rest of it tomorrow. We'll look at a sample lesson plan, and we'll talk about, we'll briefly talk about our student progress tracker, which is for all rubrics, and the teacher schedule TeachWorks. But hi, Dave, how are you? Hi, Dave, you're in. I just thought, yeah. What's that?
There were just a few speed bumps there, but we overcame.
Yeah, I was just telling, this is Nadine, by the way, and and so I just was trying to go slow here because there was another participant coming in. But ZhuMu just changed their registration information, and so I can no longer just send people links to the room. They have to actually register for ZhuMu. So that is, I apologize for that, but you're in, and that's all that matters. So we were just going over basically what we're going to talk about. So the first 3 items here, let's see, let me just point to it. So the first 3 items here, we're going to just talk about who our teachers are. We'll talk a little bit about teaching styles, linguistic skills, but primarily I just want to get your guys' feedback on how if you're an online teacher now, or if you've done online teaching in the past, or any type of teaching, just how you approach your teaching, and then, you guys could collaborate with each other on that. And then we'll just go into the actual video conferencing platform, which is ZhuMu, what we're on now. Big English Active Teach. So these are the 3 items that I hope we can accomplish today in the 2 hours. And anything that we don't finish, we can just move to the next day. The last day will be a pre-recorded session on the student progress tracker for all rubrics and TeachWorks, which is our teacher schedule system. So, let's see.
This system looks very similar. This interface looks very similar to Zoom, Z-O-O-M.
It's the exact same, except it's the Chinese version. Yes, so I actually have Zoom as well. It's the exact same version. So if you can, if you knew some of the features of Zoom. So if you're used to it, then you will know that that's, then you'll have no problem using ZhuMu. they use the Chinese version because obviously, you know, our clients are in China, so so they just keep up with that version. Anytime if you wanted to meet with me, we can always use Zoom or we can use Zhumu. I just stick with Zhumu just because, you know, it's what we use with our clients. So yeah. Yeah, and then the last day again, I'll probably have you guys look at a demo if you haven't seen it already. Otherwise, it's just on this PowerPoint. I don't know if this is the PowerPoint that I had you guys look at on the Gmail, and if it is. It is? Okay, good.
So far it is.
I updated it recently, so I noticed I was trying to compare the two, but okay. Sorry, go ahead. Okay. All right, so, okay, so we were waiting again. We're waiting for one more participant, but we'll just keep going. All right, so just introduction of who our CAEC teachers are. We have several teachers, and we can probably add to this list as time goes along, but we definitely have a lot of teachers from various areas. We have a lot from the East Coast too, and really just as we talked about during our interviews, that the East Coast teachers, they have an easier time teaching the students in China because the time difference is only about 12 hours apart. So so us Californians and the Hawaiians, they have to actually get up a lot earlier because they're about 17 hours. So yeah, interesting. And most of our teachers have taught online. They've gone overseas. They've been substitute teachers, taught ESL, teach high school, college, you know, business. So that can add to the list. So all of our teachers have either some credential, whether it's a you know, teaching credential, which is it's highly recognized in China. The Chinese parents really look for teachers who have those credentials, and that just kind of gives validity to our teachers. So we try not to just hire right from high school or college, rather. And all of the teachers that we currently have are familiar with Zhumu and the online teaching software. So, and you guys will have access to the levels, so you guys can familiarize yourself with those levels. And I've seen a variety of teachers using different types of ways to teach the actual software, use props or other tools, that sort of thing. So, you know, just to make it lively. And, you know, just like with any other teacher or any other educator, you know, we make it fun, interactive, personable, patient, and all of our teachers are really passionate about teaching. And so you guys have joined us because you guys, I feel, share that same, those same ideals. So, yeah, great. All right, so, so on to Zhumu. This is our communication platform, and I know, Dave, you said you have some familiarity with it. Now, you guys should, since sharing my screen, you're going to see a different toolbar than what I see, and that's okay. When you guys share a screen, it'll look different. But your toolbar should be located somewhere on the bottom here. Is that correct? Yes. You have a toolbar that says mute, video, participants, yes. Share, pause. Okay. All right. Okay. So essentially, anytime that you share screen, your tool will change. So this is what I'm going to do. I am going to ask Nadine. I'm going to ask, you know, participation here a little bit. I'm going to ask Nadine to share her screen. Okay. So I'm going to pause my share, and you're going to do something for me. You're going to press share screen on the bottom there. And just, you know, whatever screen you want to be shared. Doesn't have to be anything fancy.
It says I cannot start screen share while the other participant is sharing.
See, trick. That's why I did that. So I then have to stop my share. So right now I have I'm currently sharing. So this goes to show, like, so let's say Chinese student wants to share his screen, or you guys can't share each other's screen unless one has actually stopped the share. So I got to stop my share. And now when I stop my share, you see my big face, right? So go ahead, Nadine, and try to share another screen. Good. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, there you go. Now you're already using the annotation tools. Okay. Now, so you'll notice that when you start to share your screen, then you have a different toolbar. Your toolbar, maybe it's kind of a floating toolbar.
Right.
Now, Dave and I, we have just a regular toolbar here on the bottom. So, but yeah, so that's sort of how that goes. And if you've used Zhumu or Zoom before, it's the same idea, Dave, but I can also allow you to share your screen. So now if I try to share my screen, it's saying that I can't do it until you stop, Nadine's.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm going to ask Dave in a minute to share his screening, and I'm going to ask him to do something different than what you did. So go ahead, and if you don't mind, there you go.
Okay.
All right. All right, Dave, go ahead and share your screen. But before you do, make sure when you click the share screen, make sure that you click on the button that just says share entire desktop. Okay. So don't change it. It really defaults to that button. So you'll click on it. It will say share entire desktop. And then now it shares your desktop. Very good.
Oh yeah, that's a symbol that it's still loading.
Oh, yeah, loading. Yeah, there you go. That's gonna.
One thing I wanted to mention to you, just as you use this with other people as well, my Norton antivirus popped up. Kinds of warnings about Zhumu as well. So just you'll probably hear that from other people as you begin to do that. So I just wanted you to be aware as well.
Okay.
See that?
Well, yeah. Can you do me a favor? Thank you so much. Actually, can you screenshot that to me so I can send it to our IT team?
Sure.
And that would.
It might be easier if you screenshot on your end right now.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that. Okay. There we go.
But I'd be happy to as well. But.
Yeah, not a problem. I'll go ahead and actually. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, if you want to do it, it's not a problem, but I went ahead and did it as well. So let's see. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, I'll make sure that our IT manager in China understands that there is an antivirus that pops up. So, okay, so when you share the screen, you just share your entire desktop. That's how you usually do it. There's also another option. If you go back to the share screen button, you can just click it again. There's an option on the bottom left-hand side that says something about computer audio sound. So you'll want to make sure you also press that, share computer audio sound, because whenever we are projecting our material onto this platform, the students can't hear everything because we're sharing the screen or we're sharing that information. So you need to share a computer audio sound too.
Excuse me for interrupting. So I'm looking at the annotation toolbar that drops down from the top, and I don't see.
Oh yeah, just click the share screen again. Share. It says something. It's just on the toolbar itself.
There's pause share or stop share, and I have the annotate and the participants and stop video. There's a more button, and underneath the more it says audio options. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah. No. Go to the part where where it says stop share. Is there a button that says something about resume or pause share or anything like that?
Yeah. There's a pause.
Okay. So
should I pause?
You can press pause.
Okay, your desktop sharing is paused.
Okay, so, and then press resume. Okay, So do me a favor and press stop share, and then press share screen again.
Okay. All right, so now I have the choices, desktop or whiteboard, camera.
Yeah. So keep the desktop and go all the way to the bottom on the left hand, where they're little ticks. Yeah.
Share computer sound. Yeah, so it's not defaulted.
No, it's not defaulted. So you only need to click that one if you share computer sound. The other one, and I will tell you why you only need to click the first. If you click the second, it makes the screen very blurry, okay, for the student. So it does not enhance the screen at all. But the first one, that allows for, like I had said, it allows for you as the teacher to share your computer sound with the student. So if there's a song or if there's some sort of audio playing from your computer, the student will be able to hear it.
Very good.
Yeah, so, okay. Well, and that's, so that's the share screen. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to, where did my, sometimes I lose my, actual, okay. And by the way, so yeah, it's not defaulted. However, if you do share the computer sound throughout like your session, like if you stop your share and then you start again or something, it does remain clicked, share computer sound. It just doesn't automatically go to it. All right. Okay. All right, and so it looks like, looks like Nadine and Dave, you guys fooled around a little bit with well, I think Nadine, you fooled around a little bit with the annotation tool. So that's and by the way, that's one of the tools that is valuable for our particular program. So when we encourage students to draw, or even if you were going to draw or something like that. So you don't have to, you can prompt the student to write something. Any student can use the annotations tool anytime they want, but obviously it'd be better if you just tell them, okay, write your name or something like that. So you guys could start drawing on this page if you wanted to. So you just click on that annotate tool that's on the bottom there, and then the little toolbar pops up. You can use the drawing, you can use the marker, you use a block out. There you go, let's practice, there you go. All of these tools are really cool. And you already use the text bar. So you'll notice that when you use the text, it actually doesn't appear until you actually click within the actual screen itself. Okay, so I do want to say though, all this is nice and this is great, except that if you were to change screens anytime, it will stick. So you won't really be able to. It will not. Oh, we're going to have another person join us shortly. So you see here that the tools stick, so you have to actually make sure that you erase everything. Hi, Denise, how are you?
Hi, I do apologize for my delay.
It's okay. I appreciate you guys coming on, and I apologize that if you had a little bit of issues logging on. So, we were just going over some of the tools and the features of our video conferencing platform, but don't feel that you'll be behind or anything, because I actually have it recorded. So I can send you guys the recording and you guys can go back to it, okay?
Okay.
Yeah. So right now I was just kind of showing them the drawing tools on our ZhuMu software. So let's see. I got to clear all the drawing. Okay. So basically just got to clear the drawing anytime you use the annotation tools, so it doesn't distract you from your next screen. And then before you came on, Janice, I was just showing the crew how to, by the way, this is Dave and Nadine. Sorry about that. I didn't introduce you guys earlier.
Hello, how are you?
Good.
Yeah, so we were just talking a little bit about what Zhumu does. So it's our video conferencing platform, and it projects our materials that we'll be using to teach the students. And we were basically, Dave and Nadine were testing how to share a screen and to share computer audio sound. So maybe I'll let you do that toward the end of our discussion here.
Okay.
We're just using some of the annotation tools. There's some other tools here too. So when you go into that more section on your toolbar, you'll see a chat box. So now chat box can be useful, especially if you are trying to write a message to maybe one of the monitors in the room. And as I mentioned during our interview, that there is, we have noticed that sometimes the students have some sort of language barrier, so it's nice to have like a translator or something like that. So we do have a translator in the room. So if you wanted to write him or her a message, you can use the chat box to write a message. Directly to that person or just to the whole room. So that's the chat box option. And yeah, so there are other options here. You can invite people to the room if you wanted to. Yeah, so it looks like, yep, I got there you go. Thank you for writing back. Yeah, and so the other component of Zhumu is that you can always record the meeting. So right now I'm recording the meeting, and it is important to record your sessions with your students because it's good for of course, your own review of your lessons, but also our team in China do ask for the recordings. And I use it for teacher quality purposes. So I review, because I'm not always there during the classes. And so if somebody said, oh, yeah, Mr. Dave, he had a really great class, and I wanted to see his recording of the class or something like that, we can show future teachers. That's always the way that I would use those recordings. So
Can they record as well? Because I see that I have the record button as an attendee.
Very good question.
If we make recordings, where does that get saved, and how do you recommend we transmit that later, or is it automatic?
Oh, wonderful, great question. So yeah, good question. So first off, only the host can record the meeting. So you guys, right now, I'm the host of the meeting. And so whenever I start a new meeting, I have to actually claim myself as a host, okay? So in order for me to record, that's the major feature of being a host. So first, claiming myself as a host, which is this is a tutorial, or a little paper tutorial that I had added to our Google Drive. But to claim yourself as a host, you'd actually have to click the participants button. And since I'm already claimed as a host, I can actually I can make a co-host, I can make another host of someone else, and I can allow you to record if I wanted to. However, since, I wouldn't really allow a student to record because it would just be for the teacher. So one of the first things that you would want to do when you're logging in is to make yourself a host, okay? So I don't know if you guys have a pen and a paper, but I can have you guys write the host key down for the 2 rooms that we currently have for multi-student rooms. And the co-host key, or the host key, is 564890. Okay, host key. So I'll actually give you those instructions when we do our online training. So you'll have those instructions again, but that's the host key to make yourself a host. So actually I'm gonna, let's see, Janice, I'm gonna make you a host right now. So I'm gonna go to your, I'm gonna make you a host so you can see, and then I'm gonna try to make everybody else a host too. So let's see. So if I change to you, so right now you're the host. And then if I wanted to, but it still shows that I'm recording. But if I wanted to, actually be the host, then what happens is once a person is a host, then the recording usually goes to that person or it gets switched to that person. But so let me see here if I can try to. I'm going to try to see if I can switch somebody else out, but I don't think so. So now that you're the host, Nadine, if you go into the participants section, you can assign a host to someone else or a co-host to someone else. You can assign a host to Dave or to oh, I'm sorry, I made Nadine a host, not Janice. Yeah. Sorry. So I made you a host, Nadine. You guys have the same color, so I didn't recognize that. So yeah, you made Dave a host. And Dave now is a host. I can see that. And then you can make Janice a host.
How do I do that?
Yeah, so you just go into the participants button on your toolbar.
Right.
And then you'll see the four of us pop up.
Right.
And then you'll go to your name.
Yeah.
And I think you right click or it says more or something like that. And then and it says make a host or make another person a host.
No.
Okay.
When I hover over my name, on the right hand side is a mute and a rename option. Okay. And when I right click, nothing's happening. Maybe I'll double click.
Oh, Nadine's raising her hand. Nadine, what do you do, Nadine?
I just clicked on it, and it said make host.
So you click on somebody else's name, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I clicked on his name, and it said make host.
Okay, so don't click on your own name. That was my bad. Click on Janice's name.
Oh, and then it's more. Oh, you can make it as a. Okay. Yes. All right. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Denise, feel the power.
Awesome.
Okay. And then, so I have more there, and I'm gonna actually take the host back to menu. Okay.
All right. Make me host again. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So now that I'm hosted again, now I can. Essentially, I can just make somebody else a host, or I can mute. I can do kind of all sorts of things if I want to. I can lock the meeting. I can end the meeting if I wanted to as a host. So you didn't really make a teacher or a student a host. You could make the monitor a co-host, but they don't usually ask. So, but one of the primary reasons you make yourself a host is so when you record, to answer Dave's earlier question, when you record a meeting, it automatically gets processed to your C drive, okay? So you can actually, in your settings, in your Zhumu settings, in your video settings, you can create under recording location. So I would click, if you click more, I think you have something says video settings. And then it says like recording location. You can change or show where you want your recording to go. That way you have, like I have it go to my a certain folder, an online teaching folder. You can probably have it record to your desktop, or you can even make the choice of where you want it to go when the meeting ends.
And you would like us as a regular routine to record every.
Yeah. Yes, yeah, so record your lessons, yeah. And usually the recording, once it's processed, we ask our teachers just to attach that to the rubric that we have them complete. It's very quick, which we'll talk about during part of this training as well. And the recording will just be attached, and we send that over to the China team. We have record of it. It's in your file, so you can always return to it. So you don't have to, if you don't want to, you don't have to keep the recording on your computer. You just have it in a digital folder, digital file. So I'm actually going to show you that, probably what that looks like tomorrow. We might not have time to look at those videos today, where they are stored. So, and I think that's what I covered. So did I cover your questions, Dave, about or your concerns? Okay. All right. All right. So those are sort of the primary features. You got your hosting, you got your sharing screen, and your recording of the screen. Okay. That's pretty much it. So any questions so far? Okay. So we're going to go ahead and get into the teaching materials themselves. So we use what is called Big English Active Teach through Pearson publication, and we'll look at one particular level. There are 6 different levels, and each level is designed for English language learners between the ages of 4 to 16, and they're not exactly equal to the age level. So it just depends on the proficiency of the student. But each level does contain a teacher resource manual. It is considered PowerPoint style or presentation mode, which we'll look at. And it does include really cool, catchy songs that you probably never heard of before. They're not really like your typical, popular songs. And all of the activities, all the songs, all the games, they have all been created by the Pearson's educators. So people who've been researching this and using these materials for a very long time for ESL students. And each unit contains like some sort of theme, and they usually couple the theme with another theme, so they kind of combine the themes. There are digital flashcards, there are videos, and then at the end of each level, there's an assessment that we actually provide the students for brand new students, just to kind of test where they are in the level. So let's say they're a first grader, and we test them on Unit 1, the assessment level. And the assessment level will just essentially focus on their listening, speaking, writing, and reading skills. So there isn't really any games as much as they're just more of a question or an assessment. So we can check that out when we look at the Big English materials themselves. Okay.
Question?
Yes.
When you are, or when a teacher is using this resource, is the expectation that the students will be engaging in a block or a series, or so can you pretty much predict, okay, they've done level 3, units 1, 2, 3, and so now we're going to do level, like, is it sequential, or is
Yes.
Okay, it is. And
It is sequential, yes.
to see that ahead of time so you know, or multiple students, right? So
yeah. So for instance, let's say you're a new teacher, but we've had a student in our queue for a little while, and they wanted to change teachers. And they were working with this other teacher, on level 3 instead. Or they were working on the first 2 levels, and then now they're ready for level 3. So you could see, you would have access to that teacher's previous rubrics and their results. So I would transfer that information over to the new teacher. So it would be on, so that would be on your roster, and you'd be able to see how that teacher or how that student progressed throughout the time that they were with the old teacher. It's just an example. And if it's a brand new student, then you would be the one. It's a brand new student. You're the teacher who's going to instruct this student, and you would be the one to determine which level they would move into. So if they're a third grader and they are maybe learning from level 2, I would say, okay, Dave, this is a third grader, but let's start him at level 2. Let's assess him at level 2 at the practice test and see where you think he might go. Now, our rubric is designed to actually place them in a specific level, which I'll show you at the last part of it. You would basically be able to just click on certain boxes that you think that where this student has reached based on the linguistic skills, and it would add up the points, and it would basically say, okay, this student is ready for this level, or this student should stay at this level. And then you can choose, well, he's actually more of a unit 3 of level 2. So, I think he's maybe surpassed his other first 2 units. Maybe I'll start him at unit 3, So that we kind of trust the teachers to be able to gauge the proficiency level of the students. So if that's something that you're, and I know all 3 of you have a vast amount of experience, so you might have those capabilities. And some of our newer teachers, it takes a little bit of time for them to kind of cultivate them and to really show them what it takes to actually to test the students' capabilities. So, yeah, for the most part, you will certainly have that material in advance if it's from a previous teacher. We have it set up so it's an easy transition. Okay. All right. Okay. So we're going to actually go into the Big English momentarily, but I just wanted to kind of introduce it to you so you guys could get a feel for what it might entail. But I wanted to first talk a little bit about the teaching style, or and this is going to be ended here. But a big part of our program is just the interactive teaching, or what is known as TPR, Total Physical Response, and it's just a command kind of based theory. And have you guys heard of this theory before?
Oh, sure.
Sure,
Oh, yeah.
Of course. Yeah, so if you've worked online before, obviously if you were education majors or anything like that. So according to Pearson, and this is why Pearson is, I feel like a valuable software company, and especially for ESL, is that, students at a young age, they certainly like to implement or like imitate or emulate ways that a teacher will, use language. So language body conversations, for instance. So commands like standing up and sitting down, or, flip my hair, or wow, your eyes are big. Oh, smile really big, kind of, yes, can you hear me? There you go, yeah. What? I can't hear you. Yeah, so oftentimes I see teachers and I know they mean well, but they are just speaking right at the screen, and students can't understand that because they can't understand them. They can't understand, you've got the language barrier. So using those, using the body language really helps. Okay. And that helps them a lot, especially with reading, writing, or listening. So our major emphasis too is on their speaking skills. So they might be able to read the language, they might be able to write, or good listeners, but we want to encourage them to speak. And then just in any language, if you guys have ever learned another language, or you're teaching another language to a student, you know that their speaking skills are a little more while they're not as up to par as the rest of their linguistic skills. So I wanted to kind of get your feedback, like on how you would. This is just information about TPR, but I wanted to get your feedback on how you guys approach what your teaching styles are. Let's start with Nadine. She's on top of my list here. So. And we'll go Dave and then Janice.
So when I teach, I teach and give them information, and then we do it together, and then I release it and have the student do it. I have not taught online, but in the classroom, I have spent many years in the classroom teaching. And even with the little kids. And here in Georgia, we have a lot of Spanish-speaking children. And they come into the classroom or pre-K or kindergarten, they start, and they don't know any English. And so we use a lot of TPR to get, and well, we use a lot of TPR to get the child to understand. We use a lot of flashcards. We make a lot of cards. We point to a lot of things in the room, and everything is double labeled, and they're laying in Spanish and in English, or a lot of color recognition. We use a lot of pictures.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much for your contribution. That's one thing I wish this particular program would have the double language. There are some programs that have the double language. This particular one doesn't, which is why we have our live translator. Yeah, Thank you for that. Dave, what do you think? What is your approach?
My approach is often to use a lot of mannerisms and expressions and emphasis on specific words, or sometimes linking motion up with syllables or motion words that are being emphasized. And when I'm face-to-face, or even when I'm teaching online, I try to ensure that there's some eye contact, even to ensure that there's some kind of recognition. So I like to try, that's my teaching style, is try to create an engagement or an interactivity so that education is a two-way street rather than one.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Oftentimes in teaching, we feel like, I do in my experience, just as a talking head, I don't want to be a talking head, all the time. You don't want to engage the student. So yeah, that's wonderful inclusion. Thank you, Dave. All right, Janice.
Okay. One of the things I do with my kids, I create a hook, something that will grab their attention at the very beginning of the lesson. By learning the Chinese culture, I probably would want to incorporate some of their music, some of the things that they can relate to, and use that, just a snippet of that, to catch their attention to begin with, and then draw them into what it is that I'm teaching. The gestures would also be a part of that, but I know a lot of kids, well, regardless of their nationality, can relate to music. So music, I usually use that as a good tool to grab their attention at the very beginning. Yeah,
it's like, I just think of icebreaker, but musical, icebreakers are awesome. Yeah, that's interesting that you actually mentioned that, because that's one of the kind of like the suggested lesson plan is to use music or use some sort of song. The Big English, they actually have songs at the beginning of every single unit. But I do like the idea of kind of catching their attention using something cultural, to relate to their culture and your culture, that sort of thing. So yeah, great. Okay. Do you guys want to add anything or anything else, or you want to move forward?
Yeah, we can move forward.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Yeah, thank you for your contribution. I appreciate it. I think it'll be really helpful for future teachers too. So, by the way, this is getting recorded. If anybody who missed our recording, they have a couple days to review the recording and also be a part of it. So you guys have made a really great, addition to this. So part of what we were just talking about, using TPR, employing the four linguistic skills. So our rubric is designed, like I had said, the 4 categories are based on listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And each lesson definitely implements all of these 4 skills, you know, fosters a really productive learning environment for the student. And they do have a lot of fun while they're doing it. They don't even know that they're learning the grammar. They don't even really know that the sentence structure, because it's all integrated. So we don't have to. You can show them the vowels. We can show them the compound words, things like that, and kind of give them an idea of what that looks like. But it's all embedded within the system itself. So actually, I wanted to take some time and show you a song from the Big English Active Teach, the first unit. So I'll actually let you hear the song itself. And at this point, what we'll do is we'll actually start to look at Big English so you can get a feel for what it looks like, because I'm sure you're all anxious, right? So give me just a moment. I'm going to go ahead and pause the share here. So another cool feature of Zhumu is that anytime that you need to switch screens for whatever reason, you pause the share and the student will only see what's your last screen. So you can kind of go and navigate around, and like I can escape this screen and you can't see that I'm doing any of it. So, and then once I resume the share, the Big English will pop up. So all right, so you guys see you all see my screen right here? So this is the first level of Big English, and when you guys will you'll get access to all of the levels. I will send them to you through WeTransfer, which is and the reason why I send it through WeTransfer is because they're really fairly large files. They're virtual CDs. So you just download the virtual CDs onto, I just put it on, all of them onto my desktop so they're just easy access. And then I'll give you those instructions later on. But as far as that's concerned, really what you do is you just click on, I usually just click on this third one, don't save my work, because it's not necessary to actually save your work on an existing file, and it's really hard to find, so I just don't save my work. And then press the start button, and here is what the levels look like. So we're going to actually look at the first level here. I'm sorry, we're in the first level, but we're going to look at the first unit, which is Good Morning Class. And then you'll see here each title, and they're all based on something. So here, these are what's in a classroom. And so their objects and colors are the main themes. Okay. So we're just going to actually just go into and listen to the song here. Let me know if you can hear it. And I play it. Listen. Anytime that you press the play here, it's always going to have somebody announcing instructions. So don't be startled when you hear that. But that's the usual idea here. Now, I will say that all of these songs, you will not see any really movement. Okay, so this is where you guys come in as a teacher. Okay, and I don't currently have props here, but sometimes I'll have props, like I'll have a marker, a pencil, or something like that, or a backpack to make it fun and entertaining for them. But try to still be engaging and interactive at the same time. And one more thing, a lot of it, because you're hearing what I'm putting out there, there is a small delay. So there's probably a couple seconds delay. So as you see that I'm singing and the song is singing, you might hear it. You might hear the actual song maybe a couple seconds. That's just the way it works with sharing the sound. Okay. Can you guys hear it? Good morning, class. Good morning. It's so blue. We take let's start. 1, 2, 3. Good morning to you. I'm happy to see you. I'm happy to see you. All right. Probably a song you never heard in your life, right? Yeah, so they're very catchy, fun, you know, I think melodic in many senses. So this is a really, it might not have as much TPR within it, but again, the props are helpful. You can draw, you know, if you kind of like are really going to get into it, draw a funny face, draw the, you know, just kind of make it entertaining. So for the students themselves. Okay. So I just wanted to show you that song. We can actually, I can show you kind of some different songs too. I might show you one more, which I
Did she freeze?
Oh, oh, did you get me? Okay. Did I freeze? Okay. Oops. Sorry about that. I guess I was talking and then suddenly something happened. Okay. So I really like that particular song. I do like the other songs too. So I'm going to show you one more song that I find particularly fun and engaging. It's a little more TPR involved. Let's see. And it's called, just go back here. Okay. It's called My Body Song, so this is a little more fun. Don't be afraid to sing along. Yes, I hear, as I see, my mouth I see, sing along with me. I have 10 fingers, I have 10 toes, 2 arms and 2 legs, just one nose. With my hands in the air, fingers in my hair, I make a sound. Sing my body song, my body song, sing my body song out. With my ears I hear, with my eyes I see, with my mouth I sing, sing along with me. I have 10 fingers, I have 10 toes, 2 arms and 2 legs, but just one nose. My hands in the air, I run my fingers through my hair and make. Sing my body song, my body song. I sing my body song again. Woo!
Oh, it's going to be stuck in my head now.
It does get stuck in your head for sure. I find myself singing these songs all the time. They're really fun.
Cursing your name.
Sorry about that. Yeah, these are fun. They're fun. They're engaging, and they do. You'll see the students. They are looking and they're seeing you, and they're so that the wheels are turning because they see you guys like putting the information out there through your gestures, and it's really a lot of fun. All right. And it definitely wears you out too, so you can get some exercise while you're at it. All right, so let's see. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go back to Big English, but I wanted to look at a sample lesson plan. So what we had sort of talked about already, which is introducing the lesson, so with an icebreaker. So basically, the introduction at this point is usually the unit song. I have seen lesson plans where students or where teachers will start with a video that uses TPR, the total physical response. I do like I've seen teachers use the big English song, so like just the general song, there's one song, and then just have them teach that song for a couple of minutes. But the meat of the lesson is usually the 2 pages out of the ebook. You probably saw it pop up very briefly. And primarily a teacher will pop up the ebook, and then maybe 2 or 3 pages out of that, they will use presentation mode, incorporating, TPR linguistic skills. Oops, let me do that. So a big part of TPR is the repetition. So not moving into, then you'll notice the song, it repeats it twice. And there is repetition throughout the big English unit, emphasizing, obviously, vocabulary, sentence structure, and then really trying to encourage the students to speak the material. And games are a lot of fun, like there's tic-tac-toe. You'll notice on some of it as you're going through it, you'll see tic-tac-toe, and they never played tic-tac-toe before. And so tic-tac-toe is a fun game for them to, to learn. It's basically just the whatever objects that they'll see, and they'll have to guess the object and then put the X or the O on it. So that's a lot of fun for them. And the games can be, you could score the games, so you can kind of keep a running score, have fun, and Chinese students are very competitive, so that's always fun for them too, if you're going to, tell them, hey, this is a game, we're going to keep score. And, essentially, this is, this again, sample lesson plan. You can review principal concepts. That's usually in the form of digital flashcards, which I'll show you. And then if there is time at the end of the lesson, you can, teach a game. You can go back to the song, which is always nice because you can always do the song at the beginning, the song at the end, and that kind of gets them going because they've already, they already know the song. They feel confident about that. So as we mentioned during our during each of our interviews, the lesson time should be about 25 minutes. Okay. So I'm going to show you a sample lesson plan here. You've probably already seen the samples on the Google Drive. So this is actually level 1, unit 1. We actually have a lesson plan coordinator who works with us, and she had developed this particular lesson plan, and she has done it in stages. So I guess there's not, probably 9 stages. I'm sorry about that. There should be 9. But she starts with the classroom song, what we had just read, song, sorry, what we just sung. And she goes through a couple pages here and a couple different exercises. Now, I've actually gone through this particular lesson, and depending on the student, you could modify the lesson, and I will give you some examples. Like, you could get a really great student who listens and is just on top of it, and you can go from exercise to exercise. But as you know, being a teacher, sometimes students, they're distracted, or something's wrong with their sound. I mean, I've seen students walk around with their phone and they're not paying attention. So it's just getting a matter of, with their parents, of course, especially at this age, they're trying to find like the Wi-Fi and to make it work. So, so some different dynamics that we have to consider with teaching young children. So this is a very ambitious lesson plan, I say, for 25 minutes. But you could get a lot out of it. You could certainly, do the song, and then you can do some of the exercises, which we will go over. I'll show you some of the different things that you see here, and ask questions and get them engaged. a lot of the times when you're asking questions, they're very quiet. So that's why we have the translator there, and she kind of prompts them to answer the questions, you know. And so then they get into answering the questions. Sometimes they answer the questions in Mandarin, and so we try to get them to speak their English, right? You know, so so that is a sample lesson plan. So why don't we go back into our Big English here, and then I'm just going to go ahead and go back to Unit 1. Okay, so we're going to spend the bulk of the time really right now, and oops, oh, darn it, what did I do with it? I accidentally X'd out, I hit escape twice, and I X'd it out, so that was my fault. But you can see here that I actually have Big English 1 already on my desktop, so it's really easy to find if that ever happens. You click this big X or click escapes too many times, it could just go right out of it. So apologize for that. But going back to Unit 1 here, I'm going to try to follow the lesson plan. But all of the exercises listed on that lesson plan are located within the first few pages here. Okay, so this is the ebook, and I'm just going to show you some of the features of Big English. Ooh, you can't see what I'm doing. Sorry about that. Okay, so this is the ebook. I'm back on Unit 1, and you'll see that every single exercise that was listed on that lesson plan is just within the first few pages. So here's page 1. This is the song, and then page 2 has up through exercise 4. I think she kind of went all the way to page 5 here. So she kind of covered a lot of pages. Ideally, you can go to all those pages, but you might even just get to, depending on your conversation with the student, you might even just get to exercise 4 or even up to exercise 5 and 6. So it's entirely up to you. So I'm going to show you some of the features of Big English that are valuable to you as a teacher. Okay. First of all, you have not only just the ebook, but you have this toolbar down here that gives you resources to the teacher manual. It also gives you ideas on your like video guide. So the video guide is helpful because it gives you the little format of the tools here, and then it also gives you some of what you should be doing as far as how you should be teaching each of the units. You can do that and what you can do. So kind of like a little lesson plan here too, what that means. That's pretty valuable. So that's all just on Unit 1 itself. Okay. Our lesson plan are loosely based on this video guide here. Okay. But those sources are available to you.
Manny, just quickly.
Yes. Yes.
When we are teaching, so we'll open this up on our computer and we'll be sharing, obviously not this page in particular, but the other pages. We'll be sharing our desktop and we'll be showing them that material. Is that correct? But you were just hovering over that.
Yes.
So that's how we do it. So all of this material you're showing us is preface work.
Oh, right. So what I'm showing you now are just your resource tools that you can utilize to prepare your lesson. Yeah. So like we give you a lesson plan, but if you wanted just some additional information, yeah, preface work. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. So.
Okay. And if we're teaching, say, I think you and I talked about this, but I'm just looking for clarification. if we were teaching, say, 4 hours in a row, or actually you said the 25, let's just say 2 hours, so the 25 minutes, so 4 classes in a row, how, I realize it must be very challenging to give us similar or sequential lessons or the same level lessons within those 4 sessions back to back. So I'm just curious, how much heads up will we have so that we can prepare?
Good question.
If every one of the lessons has this much material, obviously you can't go through it all, but
no.
When time is, when you're feeling pressed for time, which sometimes you're going to end up doing if you don't know what class you're teaching until the last minute, what are the shortcut suggestions? And not that I expect to be taking shortcuts all the time, but I imagine sometimes you don't have a choice, right?
Sure. So, yeah, very good. So, normally we give, and I highly emphasize time, because with the Chinese team. So we have a team in China that works with the students. I work with the teachers, they work with the students as far as scheduling is concerned. And so I actually emphasize to them that we need at least 3 days in advance before a teacher gets their schedule. Okay, so, or, the schedule for the next week. It's my hope and dream that everybody gets their schedule within 1 month, so you know exactly what you're doing in a month, but that we're not quite at that level. So at least 1 week in advance is when I ask for the schedule, and I usually get the schedule for you guys on Friday, my California time. So then I begin matching lessons. So you should have, at the very minimal, you should have 24 hours of preparation time. Okay. The reason why that's important too is because even though we have pre-designed lesson plans already, like you'll see it in our Google Drive, we have lesson plans for like all of level 1. You can use those lesson plans. We do ask that you, whatever lesson plan you plan on doing, that you submit that to us in advance, at least within a day, because the student actually needs to be acclimated to our system, to the Zhumu software, and to the Big English lesson itself. So let's say, Dave, you are going to teach Unit 1, Level 1 to Johnny, in a couple of days. Well, our China team actually has a review lesson with them, not a lesson that you're going to give, but just letting them know these are the pages we're covering. So these are the things that we're covering these pages. This is what the teacher is going to look at. So just be prepared. So the students themselves will be somewhat familiar with the material that you're providing during the lesson. It's kind of like in essence, I would say like a syllabus, just like a mini syllabus, in advance. So that's why we do request or ask that you present or provide your lesson plan within within 12 to 24 hours in advance of the lesson itself. But you get a schedule. And we're going to look at the scheduling. If we have time tomorrow, we'll take a look at it. If not, it's just a pre-recorded video for Friday, so we don't have to meet on Friday. But yeah, so you have that material. You'll have advance notice. I think enough advance notice for that. But there are times, sometimes, I just want to give you just some heads up. There are some times where a teacher is unavailable, maybe gets sick, something. If you're available to teach the next day, then sometimes we can say, hey, Dave, a teacher's sick. Are you available to teach this third grader tomorrow? Here's the information. And usually that teacher will already have the lesson plan. You'll have that student's progress report, basically. And you'll have all of the material you'll need to teach that lesson if it's an emergency. Is that helpful?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, cool. No problem. So these resources are really great. You can look through them on your own. I mean, I'm not going to have to go through everything, but this other one, so that's a video guide. And then we also have the a teacher resource manual, which is this is just essentially different tips and techniques and ways that you can, and, you know, gives you kind of ideas. You can see here, students' learning styles, learning strategies, you know, how to teach a student in the 21st century. And this is all based on the Common European Frameworks of Languages, so English language learners. And some other tools here. A lot of this, though, like these ones, these picture cards and things like that, these are for in class. So obviously, we won't really be able to use that for what we're doing here, but it gives you ideas. Like, you don't have to go search outside of the internet to learn about compound words, for instance. Not that you would need to do that, but anyway. But it gives you those great ideas on how you can warm-ups, planning for classes, what that would take for planning a 25-minute class or even another class. So a big general resource manual. I find it effective just to kind of brush up on certain aspects of learning in the 4 linguistic skills here. So that I don't have to really school you guys on using this, but it was helpful for me when I have to oftentimes teach group work to our China team and then also to young children of 20 or more. So I use this resource material to understand how I'm going to do that for online, because that's a little more difficult than teaching 20 students in a traditional classroom, right? So I take bits and pieces of this material and use it with my other material that I have. So it's helpful. And because it's Pearson, it's a trusted source, they do a good job of, you know, in using their years of experience teaching language learners. So, okay. So, also helpful because it does have the different age levels on how students learn in different levels. So that's nice. So, okay, great tool to use. That will be later. Sorry about that. Okay. All right. So that just wanted to show you that first, and then some other things that are helpful as well. So anytime that you're going to enter Big English, this is again this section here. I want to kind of give you guys an idea that you will have to hover over each exercise like this. You'll have to actually click on each exercise in order to get to the active presentation mode. This is what we call the active teach part of our program. Okay. You can navigate the program by using the navigation pane down here. Okay. And it goes from page to page, very simple. Okay. If you needed to switch pages at any time, you have the table of contents, and let's say you needed to go to pages 6 to 7 instead of to 2 to 3, then it'll take you back to the ebook, and then you can click on any one of the exercises that you're going to use. Okay. So just to make it very clear to you, obviously the objects don't jump on the page, so the teachers will have to be a little more innovative on how they teach the students. But they do provide instructions. So for instance, this particular page here, you can click on the audio bank. You've got to click on that little button there. And unfortunately, this does not move for you, so you have to move it yourself, maybe to the side or something like that. And then so one of the things that any teacher can do is they can obviously play the whole audio all the way. It pauses a lot, so you're certainly, here you go. You're certainly welcome to, and I don't even know who did that. Oh, it doesn't tell me. Oh boy. No, that's I guess you can write your name. I could say, write your name to what it is. That's the only unfortunate part. I guess if I can give remote control access to certain people, and then, on Zhumu, and then I would only know that that person is the one controlling the mouse.
Yeah, well, that's why I was testing it when it said, listen in circle. I had forgotten that we could do that. So
sure. Yeah.
See. So that's good, because then you can give the students the directions as well.
Yeah.
So how many students would you have at one time?
Only one. You'd only have one. Yeah, it's always going to be only one. We're actually working on multiple student classrooms, but that's still very much in a new stage. So we're working logistics on that. So right now it's just one-on-one tutoring. So you'll have a lot of pauses in between each of these. So it's very easy to just pause and ask questions, give them explanations on contractions, all of that, and very clear language. All right. Let's see, I'm going to go back. So again, you got the navigation pane. That basically just goes from one page to the next. You have the table of contents here. That goes from certain pages that you want to go to. And then you have this arrow. It just goes up a level, which means that if you needed to go to a certain page, it doesn't go up a level after that. You can go back. You can use the table of contents, whatever you feel is most efficient. Now, it is important, though, and this is some new teachers, they don't realize that they're doing this. It is important to make sure you are using presentation mode when you teach. So basically just clicking on the exercises themselves, okay, in order to complete the lesson. And it's up to you, but you can also use tools here. It does hover over some of this information. You wanted to.
How did you get that drop down?
So right here, under the audio bank, there is this little bubble or dialog box. Mm-hmm.
So you can skip ahead if you wanted to redo 8 or you wanted to, okay.
Right, yeah, you sure can. Yeah, you sure can if you wanted to just.
Oh, that's good. That's useful.
Yep. It's kind of like a test if you wanted to do that too.
Right. Yeah, so useful. Audio bank is useful for lots of things. One of the things I would recommend, though, if when you're with the sound, is make sure your sound's all the way up, okay, so they can hear. How's the audio? Can you hear me okay? Can you hear the computer sound? Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So great. So that's wonderful. You can hear me, but one of the things that I feel like, because the internet is a little intermittent in China, sometimes the audio is very low. So just double checking the audio, making sure that everything is okay would be very good to do in the beginning. And always asking, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Is this, in case there's any issues. So, okay. Yeah, so that's the audio bank, the audio box, using that. You can also use that with the song too, if you want them to follow along and highlight the song, as always, especially when you're teaching the phrases. I've seen teachers, they use the song and they emphasize the vocabulary within the song because you see the song throughout, or see the words throughout the lesson. So, okay, so one of the things too that, you know, because you see the vocabulary here, you also have the opportunity to use the picture cards, which was on the lesson plan. So, and that's divided by units as well. It goes all the way to unit 9. So unit 1, I think, has most of the picture cards here. You can enhance it. You don't have to. You don't have to show them all. That would probably be good because then they don't have to cheat. Switch the slides. If you switch the slides and then just have them guess it and then have them say it, you can, and then you can click on it just so they can see it. So you have a variety of choices here when you're using the picture cards or the digital flashcards. So another fun way to emphasize vocabulary. So play a game with this as well. If you were to play a game, let's say you wanted to play, okay, I want to see if you can guess, you know, how many, you know, these objects. And you wanted to keep score, like I talked about, there is a scorecard here that you can use right on the bottom. Usually it's done in games, but or in teams. So let's say, you know, you're team A, they're team B, and you can always keep the scorecard and keep it up. I wouldn't minimize it if you're going to use a scorecard because then it just erases it. So if you're going to keep score, I would just kind of try to minimize it on the bottom of your screen.
And I'm trying to cheat and do the scores, but I can't, so I don't have the ability to change the scores.
Yeah, you don't have the ability to change the scores because it just resets it. Exactly. So yeah, that's a fun way to get them motivated that you're going to play a game with them and see who wins. I like that when they hear game competition, they're all excited.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So again, you have show all. So okay, you have the ability to show all, to switch the slides, to have them hear it first, or to just go through it for review. Again, teachers use this in the beginning or they use it at the end for vocabulary emphasis. Oh, I did it again, darn it. Okay. All right. All right, so we're going to take some time. I think you know what? I'm going to actually just do one more thing. I'm going to show you the video segment. So I think our PowerPoint here, lesson plan, it went to the exercise, shows the story, colors, documentary. So sometimes the teachers show documentary after the song or they show it in the middle here. So we're going to just show you, I'm going to show you the documentary, what that looks like, and then what a dramatic segment looks like. Usually the dramatic segment is more of a, supposed to be more entertaining to kind of get the students to think about the lesson, okay? So, and think about the objects in the lesson and about the characters, because the characters are going to see throughout the levels, the same characters doing different things. So I'm going to show you the dramatic segment. So at this point, I see a lot of teachers, they just stop and they just ask, okay, so what materials do you see on the desk? So stop and ask questions, or you can just have them watch the dramatic segment and then go back and then ask the questions. Depends on your time. If you're running out of time, maybe you can just stop right in the middle, because you can see there's like intervals where you be able to pause. So then it gets comedic here in a minute. Look how he just shoves it into the backpack. It doesn't even put away nicely. So one thing that we would love for teachers to emphasize too is, not just what's going on as far as like the objects or the colors, but also students at this age are, they're developing their critical thinking skills. So, some just asking engaging questions about those. What's going on in the video? What could have Adam done differently, in order to prevent his situation? And what nice thing he could have done for Anna instead of shoving stuff in the backpack, things like that, to get the students really thinking about about the situation, or about these situational sort of comedies or dramatic segments. So that's a fun engagement part of the program. And just so you know too, you can click out anytime you enlarge something, you can click out of it. But if you click out of this big English, the big one here, then it just clicks out the whole program. But you can click out at least that, and then it will go right back. So I'm going to go ahead and show the documentary. So that was dramatic, and then there's documentary, which was on the lesson plan. This is just more informative. The other one's more entertaining and engaging. Okay. All right. All right, so we got covered videos, picture cards, resources, toolbox. You felt compelled to time yourself. You have a stopwatch here too. So I've seen teachers use this, just kind of minimize it down here. Maybe actually, why is it not working? Start. There you go. Time yourself, or you can just count down 25. So I just use a stopwatch because I would rather see the time go than count down. That kind of freaks me out. So, all right, up to you. All right. So I thought we would just take some time. We have 3 of you, so I thought we'd take a couple minutes to navigate the program. Now, I will say, so we're not going to use this toolbar down here because I think tomorrow when we go back to Big English, I will talk to you about this toolbar because it's extremely valuable and it's also not very useful at the same time. So, and I'll tell you that more tomorrow. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and give you the opportunity to go and navigate. So this is, at this point, I'm going to give remote control access to each one of you, okay? I'll start with Janice, okay? And what that means, giving you remote control access, is that you will have control of my, my desktop. So you would be able to move through the navigation tools and use Big English in the way that you want to use Big English, okay? And then I'll give you a couple minutes, and then Dave give you a couple minutes, and then Nadine give you a couple minutes, okay? All right, so you should be able to, let me put this way over there. Why is that over there? There we go.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you're really good. You're really controlling my screen now. I'm not sure what that, I'm not sure how to get out of that. I don't ever use this.
How did you share control of your screen? That's different than.
So what I did is I asked her, or I gave her remote control access. So there's a thing on your toolbar that says remote control, and you can actually ask to gain remote control, and now she can navigate. Now she can use my screen. So yeah, so I'll do that for you in a minute. But you have that access too on Zhumu. You can ask for remote control access. Normally we don't give the students remote control access, but I'm doing this just for the purposes of you guys being able to look through the material. So so why don't you, Janice, why don't you see if you can find the navigation tool on the bottom of the screen? There's a little right arrow, a left arrow, another arrow.
I have
It's right here. Do you see that on the corner here?
right here.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
It's through Big English. Oh, nope. The Big English tool. So it's not my toolbar, but right here on the bottom. Let me spotlight that for you. Do you see that right here?
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything right there. So
Oh.
my bottom bar evidently is covering that up.
Oh, okay. All right.
Let me
Are you guys do you guys see the net? Okay.
It came up then. I have to
Oh, you had to move the bottom bar. Okay. All right. That makes sense. Let me make sure that the mouse is, I'm going to take control back for a minute.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Let me just make sure that, there you go. Now you can go back.
Okay.
You should be able to, yeah, so. So that's just.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You can. Why don't you try clicking on the little musical symbol there
Okay.
and see about
Listen and read.
and using the
Then
audio bank.
sing the classroom song.
Yeah, so move it up. There you go. Now you're controlling the screen, so it's up to you to stop it.
Good morning.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and press that dialogue bubble? You can see up there. You guys can see how that works. You can again. So you guys could. It does have a little dialogue. So the teacher, the students, you can use that. You can click on certain phrases. Now this little where it says listen and read, then sing. Do you see this little microphone? That's karaoke. So it actually, it just plays the music. So if they really learn the song, then you can just, Or if you don't want to hear the word, like if you don't want to hear the person's voice and you just want to sing yourself because you feel like you're, oh no, I think what happened?
Uh-oh. I don't know.
Oh, I think our program had caused her to disappear.
She didn't want to sing.
Yeah, she wanted to sing. She got afraid. She got cold, or she got stage fright. Yeah, so this.
Now it's
I'll
your
sing
turn to
karaoke.
sing the classroom
So
song.
we can all sing together. You just have to know the notes.
I don't know it.
Good morning, class. Good morning to you. I'm happy to see you. We're happy to see you too.
Hard.
My name is Parker. The only unfortunate part about this is that if you're going to do that, it doesn't have the dialogue box. So, but you can see the how that could be fun, but that can also be a little strenuous on you because then you're going to have to sing on tune. And
In the annotate tool, there's no kind of bouncing ball or,
that's a good question. There actually is not a bouncing ball, but there is a spotlight. So.
where is that?
So that's actually, and again, in advance, if you're able to, I didn't think of it in advance. I should have used the spotlight so I can highlight the different words. Some people there's also a little arrow
Oh,
if you wanted to just point to the,
yeah.
yep. So, so you have some features there that you can use. You can use little check marks.
Yeah.
So, all right. So that is well, it looks like I think Janice lost her turn. So she'll come back up, I'm sure. She's going to just try to log in. So Dave, I'm going to go ahead and let you go ahead and see if you can navigate here. So I'm going to give you remote control access now for a few minutes. So now you're able to basically control the screen. You can see all the work I'm doing. Yeah. So you can go all the way to unit. Yeah, you can click on a different unit. That's up to you. Just click on a random unit, page number.
So the pages must continue through the units.
They're continuous. Yeah. So so one thing I probably didn't mention this. I may have mentioned it to one or two of you, but each of the units are designed. Each of the levels, level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, are designed for 1 year of teaching. You know. So so as you can see, there's 100 and something pages. So it's an entire text. So that's why if you only use a couple pages, emphasize a couple pages per lesson, and the idea is, you know, for students to actually buy enough lessons, the students will buy enough lessons, or their parents anyways, so they can actually get through a good amount and then move to the next level. Yeah. So. But then oftentimes, yeah.
Is this designed for online instruction or as a digital supplement for general instruction, face-to-face or online?
Face-to-face or online. It's designed for both. You can use for traditional and online. Yeah. So we like it just because of the flexibility of the type of software it is. So, but yeah, just to your point, it's certainly for both. For traditional and online, yeah. Well, like this one, playtime is cool. Yeah.
Listen and say.
Please. Why don't you do me a favor and go ahead and when you say listen, so when you point to, go ahead and actually click on the number 3 there. There you go. Now you're in active mode. So you can see how it's enlarged, but it was very small on your screen, I'm sure, before that. So you won't be able to go in active mode if you actually, until you actually click on the numbers, or rather the phrases. If you click on the exercise, it doesn't really, I think you have to actually click on the number there. Yeah, so if you wanted to hear the story, for instance, you just got to click on the audio box. There you go, and you can hear
Listen
the story.
to the story.
You can do the audio,
I'm not
the dialogue
tired.
box.
Hi, Anne.
Hi, Mrs. Ramos.
Thanks for babysitting, Anne. Is Jimmy sleeping?
No, he isn't, Mrs. Ramos.
What's he doing?
He's jumping on his bed. It's time to go to sleep, Jimmy. I'm not tired. I'm not tired.
Oh, that Jimmy.
Oh, he's a bad boy. There always seems to be. I love these stories because there's always like a moral of the story, you know, type thing, or a way they could think about the story, you know, and so you can ask them questions or kind of present a dialogue, you know.
So there seems to be a tremendous amount of material here.
Yeah, there's a lot to work with.
So in a 25, and maybe you'll talk about this another time, but in a 25-minute class, I guess you kind of play it by ear based upon how the student is doing. I mean,
absolutely. That's why we do have our lesson plan coordinator. She's gone through every single one of these lessons, and she had realized that, well, you know, she has a way that she can do it, but then she got to realize that there are different dynamics of different teachers. So if you go to this sample lesson plan here, you'll see that there's this covers only like 3 pages. So it's got the song, page 3 and page 4. 7 exercises plus the flashcards. Okay, so that's why I was telling you earlier, this is a really ambitious lesson plan, because you could maybe go through probably a fourth of this lesson, or maybe a third of this lesson, because it, just to your point, David, exactly, it depends on the student, it depends on how quick they are. They could go through the material really fast, or they could, you might have to take some time with some of the students,
So it stands to reason then that if we got through a quarter of this lesson, then the next time we saw little Susie, then we just pick up where we left off.
Pick up where you left off, absolutely.
Did you say that there is another instructor on another end giving them a refresher on what they already covered?
Yeah, so they'll do that. They will probably give them a refresher on what they covered. Like, let's say if it's an assessment or if it's the actual lesson itself, they will do that. Yes. So they actually are meeting with the other Chinese colleague for about maybe 10 to 15 minutes prior to meeting with you. Yeah.
Okay, and that's face to face.
Yes. It's online too. So. Yeah. So they're usually, the students are at their home, so they are, and then the other, the helper or the assistant is at work or somewhere else, somewhere in China. So usually she's at work. So, but just exactly to your point. There's good material here. So you have a lot what you can use. You're not short of material, and you're not short of how you can use the material and how you can engage them, and how you can get them to think on a more higher level, higher plane. Yeah. So. Okay,
so I'm not going to lose sleep if I've only gotten through 50% of all of the lesson plan resources, because there's plenty of versatility and personalization here.
Yeah. Yes, and if you, let's say you go on through the lesson and you're teaching the student the next day, usually, or the next couple of days or the next week or something, then you have the right to go ahead and create your next lesson based on what you've already had left off on. So that would be ideal.
Right.
Again, we do have set amount of lesson plans. So if you go through the whole lesson, then you can go on to the next lesson, or the next unit, whatever it is, or the next set of pages. So, yeah, but, all right. So, Nadine, how about how are you feel about navigating? Dave, do you want to let Nadine take a stab, or?
Sure. What should I do?
I think you can. I'm not sure you can give her remote control access, but why don't you try to go to your toolbar and see if you can do that? But I don't know if you can. I think you can only request, or you can give up the remote control, but I don't think you can give.
Yeah, I don't know where exactly I'm doing that.
Maybe on the on your toolbar where it says more, you might be able to do something with the remote, but I don't think so.
On the toolbar where it says more. Is that in the Zhumu toolbar?
Yeah,
no, it's not in the Zhumu.
In the Zhumu toolbar.
Where would it say more? On the right-hand side?
Yeah, on the right. Yeah, on the right-hand side there should be the ellipses. It might not give you the option. It might not give you the option to give her the I can go ahead and do it. I think I'm the only person who can, since I'm the host. So so I will go ahead and give Nadine access here. All right, Nadine, you have access. You have remote control access. So so Nadine, I'm going to ask you to go back to the, before you navigate, I'm going to show you guys a little trick here. Go to Unit 1. So click on that one and go to Unit 1.
Yeah, you have to actually click in.
And click in. Yeah, it's kind of tricky. And it's a little slow because we're sharing the screen here. So.
Oh, I've got to move y'all. You guys.
Oh yeah, you got to move me. Yeah, because you're okay, I see. Yeah, I have you guys all the way up. And then go to pages 2 to 3. Okay, so you see the pages here. You see these little symbols here. You got the musical symbol. Then you have the karaoke symbol. Then you have the little play buttons here. Now I'm going to show you guys a trick. So right on the bottom right-hand side, I want you to click on that symbol there.
What is that?
That's a remote game symbol. So this is so you don't.
That's neat.
Yeah, so you don't see that on the ebook. So you actually have to click it. Or if you're navigating the pages, like if you're going, go ahead and.
Did she freeze again?
Yeah,
Oh.
I think so.
So.
Oh, there.
Am I okay?
You're good.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, so.
How do we do it? How do we play?
Oh, okay, let's play it. All right. Actually, I guess you can't play it. Nadine and I can play it since we're both in control. So we'll show you. So I'll show you here. I'll be X, you be O, Nadine. Now, it depends on how you want to, if you want to play this game, if you want them, especially if you're going to keep score. I ask them, make sure that they tell me the object before they click on their square. So, so what you do is you click on the object first, so ruler, and then you click on the X, and then it will turn over. Okay. So
Crayon.
click on, yeah, crayon, there you go. Click on the crayon, and then you click on.
Teacher, how do we give the student access to this? Right now, you're sharing her control. You're sharing control with her.
Yes, I can also control the screen while she is controlling the screen. So, meaning like we can do it together.
Right, but we're not going to let the students control the screen.
You
Will
can.
you be the host? Will you be the host? Is that
Oh,
how it works?
we can just do this for them if they say.
You can do it for them. Yeah, you can do it for them because they might get confused because they might not be able to do it first, especially if they're young. But you can do it for them. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Very good.
Yeah, so that's just an option.
And was that at the bottom of every page or every double page?
So good question. So go ahead and Nadine, go ahead and go back to a previous screen, or you can just go up a level, where it's and up a level is just the left one, all the way to the left. There you go. So it's on the bottom of this screen here, but if you go to the next one, it's usually only on every unit. So so you don't really see the game. You'll have to look at the symbol, and I don't see it on every unit. Yeah.
Right.
Or on every page. Yeah. So yeah, so if you wanted to play the game, or if you just are going through the pages themselves on the active present, but I will tell you that if you're here, let's say you're on number 3. Hold on, let me just go back here. If you're on exercise 3, listen, point, and say. Okay. You can actually get to the game from the navigation pane here too. After exercise 3, essentially. The game will pop up. But you don't see the game unless you press the symbol itself on the ebook. You have to kind of know it's there. So,
okay, very good.
There is a help guide too, so if you are confused, you can press the help, and then there's the gives you some instructions on the student book itself and how to navigate it, the different icons, what they mean. Okay. Also, tomorrow we'll go over the toolbar here, and again we'll show you that. I'll show you how useful it is and how not useful it is. Okay. But this is always nice just to have on your person. Oh, and here's the little symbol, so the gameplay button. Okay. right.
All right.
Okay, so yeah, we pretty much have gone a whole hour, 2 hours. I know you guys are probably wanting to use the restroom or something like that. So, and thank you. What's that?
You read my mind.
Yeah, or some, you know, or maybe you need to eat some dinner or something. All right, so any lasting questions? I think Janice, we lost her, so you know, hopefully she probably couldn't get back on. But any lasting questions? Any comments, concerns? And before we move on to tomorrow, okay. Well, you guys are a good class. That's why I have no questions. I love it. You can get out early. All right, guys. Well, I had a wonderful time. I am looking forward to tomorrow, same time, 1 to 3. Well, I guess it's not 1 to 3 for you guys. So you guys are East Coast, right? So, so I look forward to tomorrow as well. And if there's any questions you have, if you wanted to go over to something else, no problem. But tomorrow we'll basically just go over the big English, and then if we have the time, we'll go over the student progress tracker again, or the 4 all rubrics, as well as the calendar. I normally go over the articles from Pearson. I also go over the teaching manual, but if you guys already gone through it, you have any questions about that manual, just let me know. Maybe we can go over some things. You can look at the student schedule too, just so you can see what the student schedule is if you have any questions about that. It's pretty self-explanatory. So, yeah, that's it. So I look forward to tomorrow, and I will see you guys very, very soon.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye.